What authorities have described as a terrorist shooting attack unfolded at Bondi Beach, where a public Hanukkah celebration was underway when gunfire erupted shortly before 6:50 p.m. on December 14, 2025. Police say two related suspects opened fire on a crowd gathered for Chanukah by the sea, why investigators believe the attack was motivated by antisemitism and how swift police action, along with extraordinary civilian intervention, prevented an even greater loss of life. Bondi Beach is one of Australia's most recognizable landmarks, known worldwide for its golden sand, surf culture, and vibrant community life. On most evenings, it is a place of laughter, music, and movement. On this night, it was hosting a religious celebration that drew hundreds of families, friends, and visitors to the shoreline. As the sun lowered toward the horizon, the event was still in full swing. Children played nearby. Conversations filled the air. For many attending, it was meant to be a peaceful expression of faith and community. According to police, the first shots were fired just before 6:50 p.m. Witnesses later told Australian media that confusion spread almost immediately. Some people initially believed the sounds were fireworks. Others froze, trying to understand what they were hearing. Within seconds, panic took hold. People began running across the sand in every direction. Parents grabbed children. Groups scattered toward nearby shops, cars, and alleyways. Shots echoed across an area normally associated with safety and leisure. Emergency calls flooded in. Police were alerted within minutes. In a country where mass shootings are extremely rare following decades of strict gun control laws, the unfolding scene stunned both the public and authorities. Amid the chaos, Australian media reported an extraordinary act of bravery by a civilian. According to news.com.au, video footage captured a man approaching one of the attackers from behind during the shooting. The footage reportedly shows him grabbing a shotgun from the suspect's hands and neutralizing him, preventing further gunfire. That man was later identified as Ahmed Al-Ahmed, a 43-year-old Sydney local who owns a fruit shop in the suburb of Sutherland. Media reports state that Ahmed Al-Ahmed was shot in two places during the confrontation. He was taken to hospital for treatment. Authorities and witnesses have credited his actions with saving many lives. Police and emergency responders arrived shortly after. According to official statements, one gunman was shot dead at the scene. The second suspect was wounded, arrested, and taken to hospital under armed guard. As the area was secured, the scale of the tragedy began to emerge. Authorities later confirmed that at least 16 people were killed, with dozens more injured. Victims included families and community members who had been attending the celebration. Australian media reported that a child was among those killed. Hospitals across Sydney went into emergency response mode. Doctors treated gunshot wounds as well as injuries sustained during the frantic rush to escape. Two police officers were reportedly taken into surgery after being injured during the response. As the nation processed the shock, investigators worked through the night to identify those responsible. Police later identified the suspects as father and son. According to authorities, the older man was Sajid Akram, aged 50. His son was Naveed Akram, aged 24. Investigators allege the pair acted together and planned the attack in advance. A vehicle linked to the suspects was searched as part of the investigation. Inside, police discovered improvised explosive devices, according to official statements. Bomb disposal units were deployed, and the devices were safely neutralized. Based on the evidence gathered, officials classified the shooting as a terrorist attack, stating it was a deliberate assault targeting the Jewish community during a religious celebration. Prime Minister Anthony Albanese addressed the nation, condemning the violence in the strongest terms. He described the attack as an act of hatred and reaffirmed that antisemitism and extremism have no place in Australia. The attack triggered an immediate national and international response. Messages of condolence and solidarity came from world leaders and foreign governments. Across Australia, religious and community groups held vigils, bringing together people of different faiths to mourn the victims. For many Australians, the attack struck a particularly deep nerve. Following the 1996 Port Arthur massacre, Australia implemented sweeping gun law reforms that dramatically reduced gun violence. Since then, mass shootings have been rare, and public spaces like beaches, shopping centers, and festivals have come to symbolize safety. That history is why the events at Bondi Beach felt so confronting. Survivors later spoke to media about moments of terror and confusion, but also about humanity. Accounts described strangers helping strangers, people shielding children, and others staying behind to assist the injured despite the danger. Police have said the investigation remains ongoing. Authorities are examining digital communications, movements, and potential extremist connections linked to the suspects. Security agencies have warned that threat levels remain elevated and urged continued vigilance. Bondi Beach, long associated with freedom and openness, now carries the weight of tragedy. But alongside grief, there has been recognition of courage from first responders, from medical staff, and from ordinary people like Ahmed Al-Ahmed, who stepped forward at great personal risk. As Australia mourns, questions remain about security, prevention, and how such hatred can be confronted before it turns into violence. And yet, within the darkness of that night, acts of bravery and humanity also emerged, reminders that even in moments of fear, people can choose to protect one another.